Okay, so today we'll be studying chapter 4 in science, nutrition in living organisms. Let's just brush up our knowledge what we have learned related to this topic in our previous classes. We have learned what is malnutrition last year. Malnutrition is the state when the required nutrients for proper functioning of the body are not obtained through the diet. It means imbalanced diet is taken, so it causes malnutrition, and the only way to prevent it is taking wholesome food and balanced diet according to our age group. The type of work we do, we have to manage our diet to prevent malnutrition. Before beginning with this chapter, let's be very much thorough with what exactly is this concept of nutrition. Nutrition is the process of ingesting and using food for energy in living organisms. Various foodstuffs are consumed by us, which give nutrition to our body. These nutrition is obtained because of various nutrients, and these nutrients are classified broadly as macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are the nutrients required in large quantities, example carbohydrate, proteins, fats or lipids. Micronutrients, however, are the nutrients required in very small quantities, that is minerals and vitamins. And these nutrients are required for our body for the proper growth and development, for the supply of energy, for replacing the damaged cells and repairing the worn out tissues in the body, as also to fight diseases. Basically, the nutrients, when taken in balanced quantities, give rise to a proper nutrition in a healthy body. This nutrition is classified as the autotrophic nutrition and the heterotrophic nutrition. Some organisms can produce their own food and thus nourish themselves. This is called autotrophic nutrition. Whereas some organisms depend on other organisms for plants or animals for their food. This is called heterotrophic nutrition. Let us begin with the nutrition in plants.
What is nutrition? What are the types of nutrition? How do plants get nutrition? Let us find out the answers of these questions in the session titled Nutrition in Plants. All the living organisms require nutrients to repair the damaged body parts and carry out life processes. Hence, nutrients can be defined as the elements such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals used by living organisms for their daily life processes and growth. So, the modes of nutrition in plants are autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition, and saprotrophic nutrition. Let us understand each of these modes in brief. First, autotrophic nutrition. It is the mode of nutrition in which the living organisms make their own food using simple substances. Most of the plants are autotrophs. Plants make their own food using carbon dioxide, water, and sunlight. The leaves consist of tiny pores on its surface surrounded by guard cells. These pores are called stomata. Stomata
Let's study about the transport system in plants. The transport system in plants include the xylem and the phloem. So throughout wherever there are blue arrowheads, those are the direction in which the xylem conducts the materials like minerals and water inside the plant body. However, phloem brings about the transportation of the food prepared by the plant, that is glucose, from the leaves to the other parts of the plant. In the given picture, phloem is shown in pink color, and this is the direction in which phloem brings about the transportation in the plant. Plants do not have a separate digestive or excretory system. This is how a plant cell appears. In a plant cell, we have these green bag-like structures which are called the chloroplasts. So the chloroplast, which look like a stack of coins one above the other, these are responsible for giving leaves its green color, and it brings about the process of photosynthesis. Moving on to the nitrogen fixation, we can classify it into two types: the biological fixation of nitrogen and atmospheric fixation of nitrogen. Under the title biological fixation, we are studying about two species of microbes which perform the function of nitrogen fixation. The rhizobium present in the root nodules of leguminous plants absorb the atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into its compounds called nitrates. However, the other microbe, that is the azotobacter present in the soil, they convert atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates. So this is a picture of roots of leguminous plant where you find rhizobium. Moving on to the other type of nitrogen fixation, the atmospheric fixation of nitrogen. Lightning causes the chemical reaction between the atmospheric nitrogen and oxygen, and this forms nitric oxide. It further oxidizes to form nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide dissolves in the rainwater to form the nitric acid, and that this is how the nitrogen from the atmosphere is converted into nitrates and ultimately into nitric acid, which can be later absorbed by the roots of the trees. That's all about the autotrophic nutrition. Moving on to the other type of nutrition, and that is parasitic nutrition. Plants that do not contain chlorophyll are heterotrophic. They grow in or on the other plant body for obtaining food. Plants like Cuscuta and Loranthus are parasitic plants. Both these plants grow on the host plant body and suck nutrition from the plant body and grow. Moving on to the next type of nutrition after autotrophic nutrition, and that is heterotrophic nutrition. It is broadly classified into two types, that is insectivorous nutrition and saprophytic nutrition. Insectivorous plants like the Drosera burmani, the Venus flytrap, and the pitcher plant feed upon insects to obtain nutrients. Such plants are generally in soil or water that is deficient in nitrogen compounds. Saprophytic plants obtain food from dead and decaying bodies of other organisms. Some fungi spoil the food. Some are disease causing, while some have medicinal properties. Useful fungi are yeast and few mushrooms. So these are the examples of saprophytic plants which take nutrition from the dead and decaying bodies of other living things. The next type of nutrition in plants is the symbiotic nutrition. When two or more than two different types of plants live together to fulfill their needs such as nutrition, protection, support, etc., with each other's help, then it is known as symbiotic nutrition. Example, lichen. Lichen is an example of symbiosis between algae and fungi. With this, we come to an end of first part of the chapter, and that is nutrition in plants. All the nutrition taken by the plant body has its own unique function, and its deficiency will definitely lead to certain type of stunted growth or yellowing of leaves and so on in the plant body. Moving on to the other part of the chapter, that is nutrition in animals. No matter you consider a unicellular living organism or a multicellular living organism, either which ways they follow the steps of nutrition. Number 1, ingestion. Number 2, digestion. Number 3, absorption. Number 4, assimilation. And number 5, egestion. So these 5 steps in nutrition are carried out in each and every living body. When studying nutrition in animals in detail, first we will consider the nutrition in unicellular living things like the amoeba. They follow the holozoic nutrition. This is the animal body of amoeba, which engulfs the food particles through the pseudopodium and performs the function of digestion.
There are some organisms which we cannot see with only eyes. We need special instrument called microscope to view them. These organisms are called microorganisms. Amoeba is a microorganism which have only single cell body. It is found in pond water. It does not have a fixed shape like other organisms. In that sense, it is interesting to know how it obtains its food. Let's understand it. Ingestion. Method of taking food inside the body is called ingestion. Amoeba moves continuously. Whenever it senses the food particle, it spreads finger-like structures around the particle. These structures are called pseudopodia. These are the false feet of amoeba. Amoeba encircles the pseudopodia around food particle and takes it inside its body. We say that amoeba engulf the food. It results in formation of food vacuole which contain food particles. Digestion. The cell contains jelly-like liquid called cytoplasm. From cytoplasm, digestive enzymes are secreted in the food vacuole. These enzymes act on the food particle and convert them into simpler substances. Absorption. The simpler substances get diffused into the cytoplasm. This is called absorption. The undigested waste remain in the food vacuole. Assimilation. The food entering in cytoplasm is used for energy, growth, maintenance, and multiplication. This is called assimilation. In amoeba, plasm is used for energy, growth, maintenance, and multiplication. This is called assimilation. Excess food is stored as glycogen and fats. Egestion. The undigested waste is taken near the cell membrane and then thrown outside the cell body by rupturing, that is, cutting the membrane. This is called ingestion.
According to the type of food consumed by various animals, they can be classified as either herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, scavengers, and decomposers. Herbivores are the ones who use only plant as their food. We can include all the grazing animals under it. The seed eaters, we can call them the granivores. The fruit eaters, we call them frugivores. So all these are titled under herbivores, which eat only plants. However, carnivores are the animals that depend for their food on other animals. They are termed as predators or insectivores. Moving on to the next type, that is omnivores. Omnivores are the animals that obtain their food from both the plants as well as the animals. Examples: monkey, chimpanzees, humans, etc. The next is scavengers. These scavengers obtain their food from dead bodies of animals, for example, vulture, crow, hyena, etc. And the last type is decomposers, which are the microbes which obtain their food by decomposing the dead bodies of organisms or other materials. When studying nutrition in animals, first we learn about the holozoic nutrition in unicellular animal like amoeba. The next type of nutrition in animals is the saprozoic nutrition, which is in saprozoic nutrition, animals decompose the dead and decaying organic matter and utilize it as food. Examples: insects, unicellular animals, houseflies, ants, spiders, etc. All these undergo saprozoic nutrition. The next type of nutrition is the parasitic nutrition, which is further classified as ectoparasitic nutrition and endoparasitic nutrition. As the name suggests, ecto means on the outside and endo means the parasites which live inside the other living organisms. Ectoparasitic nutrition is carried out by living creatures like louse, bed bugs, and ticks, which suck the blood from the host body. In this type, the parasites are seen living on the body surface of the other host and obtaining food by sucking the blood or blood juices. In endoparasitic nutrition, the parasites live inside the body of a host. They consume the ready-made digested food from the host. Example: the tapeworm, which lives in the intestines of humans, and the other example is roundworms. Both these worms live inside the human body. With this, we come to an end to this chapter, Nutrition in Living Organisms. Let's just have a mind map of what we have studied. This is the flowchart given to us in the textbook. However, after going through the entire chapter, now we know that we can fill up these boxes in the following manner. So here is the flowchart along with the examples. Nutrition in plants and animals. Under plants, we have autotrophic, heterotrophic, which is further divided as insectivorous and saprophytic, and the third type as symbiotic. In nutrition in animals, we have holozoic nutrition in amoeba, saprozoic nutrition in houseflies, ants, and spiders, and last type of nutrition is parasitic nutrition, which is further classified as ectoparasitic and endoparasitic nutrition, with the following examples.